Hello and welcome back to Ostranauts. It's a second little look at it now. Why don't we just continue from where we left off and see if we can restore
Mike 3-4, Juliet India approach, extending docking arm spin
the
06
ship we started to work on. I believe this is our captain.
118550, you are cleared for approach.
Let's load her in and see how we are. Uh, just for reference sake, there's been 2 patches since I last played. I'm not sure how that will affect saves, but we'll see how we go. Let's just familiarize ourselves again with what we have because I forgot. Pretty confident we got a... Yeah, okay, so we got a suit. I thought we had a helmet. Could be wrong. Alright, we're going to investigate that. Let's put that plastic bag in our head. And I believe this ship is a very good candidate for fixing up. Confident we found a helmet last time, but worst case scenario we can buy one because the suit's an expensive part. There's very little to do here. So normally what I'll do is I'll go around. I will try and get a rough idea of how many floor panels I'll need to replace, what state the walls are in. I mean, it's definitely a back and forth process because it's can be quite lengthy. But everything at the moment is showing as most of it is showing as exterior, which means, you know, it's exposed to the vacuum of space. So we'll need to do something about that. Seal it up. I do see a compartment up here somewhere. There we go. This bit's sealed. That's handy. It's got the oxygen in it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to start the process of patching it up. And that is quite lengthy, so I'm going to jump backwards and forwards with it when I do something that's vaguely interesting. But for now, let's just close it up. And we'll get back into space. Got to remember the name of our ship, but let's check this place out here. May as well just check out the neighbor first of all. That's 6 kilometers away, so pretty easy. One thing I don't quite understand with the docking mechanism, or the mechanics, sorry, is you see one side thrust is much more powerful than the other, and I'm wondering if this is basically it's like the angle that the ship is traveling, or something that I'm just not aware of. I mean, I like it because it gives it an extra element of challenge. And because it's only on one plane, like left to right, it's not very I find it very hard. Once you get used to it, once you've done it 10 times, it's really easy. Alright, let's get out of here. We should probably, just for fun, take the bag off our head and put the bag back on our head. And check this out. This is nice. This is quite thoughtful. I'm wondering if in the patches that Dan has addressed some sort of playability things to make it a little bit more easy. Because that's kind of nice to find a bunch of loose floors on the floor. It really speeds things up. Because normally what I would do is I would go to another ship and I would disassemble it just to steal as many parts as possible. Make life easier for me. Empty crate. Oh well, it always doesn't hurt. Let's just take it. Oh god, did I just put that on? No. That was fortunate. This ship also looks like it's in pretty good condition. There's not much missing. You can tell here that there's impact damage. It's actually so this wall's probably... Yeah, I find that when the walls are damaged, that really adds an element of challenge because you can patch them, but there's only a finite number of patches out in the world. The last time I went to K-Leg, I left and I didn't bother to close the door and killed everyone, which was, you know, a bit funny. Alright, so if you played the game up to this point, I think you sort of know what to expect. I am going to jump out, gather some materials to fix the ship, and then jump back in, because I think that would be far more watchable. Right, in a bit. Okay, so we've returned to our freighter that we're going to fix up. Let's put our helmet on. I'm going to save the spacesuit because I haven't bothered to get any more batteries, or I'm not quite sure what we have with that. I did have the helmet, I just didn't recognize the icon in the inventory. It's this little guy here. Obviously, it tells you if you hover over it. Makes perfect sense. But let's just go in and start setting up for reparations, or for repairing the ship. We should start getting into the habit of closing the exterior airlock as well, since we're trying to seal it up. And the airlock is actually a compartment, so it is sealed and functional. Oh, but it's also not powered. Oh, lol. Alright. That's the door. Alright, let's get our crate put on the ground, somewhere nice and practical. Open it up. And we're going to put all this stuff in here. And then hopefully I can find all the holes in the floor, schedule them to be fixed, and then just let her just go for it. And theoretically, we should be able to get this ship started off again and take it as our own. May as well not bother with carrying these around, even though we're in a weightless environment. Why not? We'll keep some patches on hand, just for fun. And let's start patching. Oh, actually, let's just go and grab some more bits. I don't know how the other ship's power gets powered for the exterior airlock, but let's just not question that at the moment. Maybe docking enables it to be powered. Alright, so let's grab all these other patches. Take a helmet off briefly. Bit of fresh air. Gonna Gonna really try and avoid getting the message that says we're gasping for breath, because why not? Everyone likes to be comfortable. And I don't know how relevant it is in the game yet, but let's give her some entertainment. Why not? The other part of the game I'm not quite sure how it's going to work is the time, because when you start a playthrough you sort of start mid-afternoon as it stands at the moment, and you know, I've never made it to night time. I think my last playthrough I played for like 5 hours, and so it was 9 at night I think when I sort of asphyxiated. I just don't know how that's going to factor in as far as like real-time sleep cycles and so forth, because it has a timetable like sort of RimWorld-esque, with, you know, your free time and your work time, and obviously your sleeping hours and stuff in there, which is interesting. And I'm really curious to how a lot of this stuff's going to work, and I think so is Dan. I think he's making a lot of stuff up as he goes, and I think that's super cool. The battery as well, that is sort of advised that you change. It's cool, I've checked it, I'm happy. But you can, as I said, if you use time sort of like, if you speed up time, you really don't need to change it initially. You can fly all around K-Leg, and you can visit all the ships if you really want to, just on that first battery. Let's not forget to put our helmet back on. Seal up our ship, like I didn't do with K-Leg last time. Just going to close our airlock here. Why not? And we'll put the rest of our patches in this box. They're quite heavy, but yes, the other aspect of the lore I don't quite understand as well is I saw Dan explaining how gravity would work, and he basically implied that the ship is going to fly, if you're looking down on the top like we are here, that it's going to essentially fly towards us. And so you will get artificial gravity because you're sort of going up in the elevator. And that's really cool, but when you're docked on a stationary object, I don't quite get how that works. And I was getting some burden warnings, but only when I crossed the threshold into my ship, sort of implying that there's gravity in my tug, but not in the freighter. But it's just some things that need to be sort of ironed out or figured out, I guess. It's like, it's more interesting from a lore perspective is how that's going to work. And one of the things that you can vote for as far as what's going to be worked on next is 0G, and I think that would be cool, because when you get stopped on a ship that is weightless and not being able to walk over the floor, that's a bit of a break in the immersion, in my opinion. You should be able to float around and go anywhere. You certainly shouldn't have a problem stepping over one floor tile that's missing when you can float in a 0G environment. Anyway, so let's go and have a look at the ship, clean it up. Because of this mess here, I'm going to assume that there's some holes in the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up the rubbish and jump back in when I start patching the floor. Alright, so I've just started to do some light patching on the ship here. I've got a few placed, and I just came to the realization that I just don't think I can, because I forgot to purchase something on the initial spawn in, which was, let's just make sure. Yeah, I forgot to purchase the laser torch. That was silly. That's okay. That's a nice excuse for a trip to K-Leg. Let's take off our little helmet though. Oh, there we go. Bit of a gasping. And I think we're going to get some oxygen, and we're going to stick to the suit. Anyway, I'm off to K-Leg, and we'll do a bit of trading. And the last time that I was at K-Leg, just for fun... Oh look, the cops are here. I still don't know what that means. Oh, and this is another really interesting factor that I just didn't consider. This ship that I'm repairing was over here. And when, and before, I was not recording, but when I sort of bumped into it at high speed, and obviously it's an object in space that's just floating there, or it's in orbit, whatever. But when it's acted upon by another object, which was at speed, it was a good 100 meters a second, I've bumped it out of orbit. So I'm going to assume here that this is just going to go on forever out into the depths of space, which is interesting. Obviously, I should be able to fix it and fly it back. And we're going to go to K-Lake now, so that's not a problem. But that's really cool, and theoretically you could go around here, and I don't know whether or not you can, say, choose an object here and dock with it from the south, and then bonk it into the planet, and like smash it into the planet and have them all burn up. You could clear the field in theory, but you know, I'll do that when I run out of stuff to do. Good times. Anyway, we're going to go to K-Leg, and I'll jump back when I've bought some oxygen tanks and a web laser torch and start to fix up the ship. Okay, so now we've landed at K-Leg. Let's go and check out the scene. I've been trying to look at the oxygen on the other side of each door before I go through it, just for the sake of why not? Because I have disabled K-Leg. I took out a few doors just to see what would happen. It didn't turn out that well for the people who live there. I guess I should be polite and close the door. Let's have a look. Our oxygen, 21 kilopascals. Seems pretty good to me. Maybe we could take our mask off. Oh, there we go. It sounds like a relief. Alright, we're going to do a bit of trading. I have found that... Oh, and by the way, I took these doors off just so I could have a look what was behind them. And there's nothing here, obviously placeholders. I also tried to recruit people and chat to people. I took this door off as well to go and chat to this guy. Oh, there was a different guy there last time. But I'm still yet to sort of really... I haven't recruited anyone. I might try and chat to a few people and see how that goes. But let's fix the ship first, so we have a place to actually recruit someone to, because they're not going to come and sit in our little tug. Alright, we're going to need the web laser torch. Which is this guy. Just the one. I got plenty of money. We may as well buy all the hull patches. Just why not? And we're gonna get all the O2 bottles. Awesome. I think we got 2 or 3 batteries. One thing I'd really like to see in the game, I think, is a battery charger for the... What the hell is she doing? What are you doing there? You're installing a floor. That's very thoughtful of you. I'll see where this goes. There you go. She seems happy. That was a bit random. Can't get the placeholder. That's because it's in space. Anyway, let's go back to our ship and try and get to our placeholder. Measure twice, cut once. Let's make sure we have everything. Yep, oxygen, some patches, web laser torch. We should be good. And we don't really need to patch the floor in K-Leg. Okay, now in an attempt to sort of shore up the ship so I can make it ready to fill with oxygen. The last room, I think, is this one here, and I have to uninstall the fusion reactor, which I've never done before. But it's just like any other item. I guess you can just plonk it out. I didn't know you could pick them up. Of course you can... Bloop, and there's a hole. Look at that. Wonderful. So theoretically, patch this. reinstall the fusion reactor. And I think, I don't want to jinx it, but we have a functional ship. Alright, let's power him up. This is definitely my favorite aspect of the game. This is so cool. This has really sucked me in. It really sucked me in when I saw the demo. I was like, this is just dope. I've done this a few times. Let's let it do a few things on its own. Click, click. Throw these on. I should figure out what all this stands for. Lots of acronyms. Let's fire it up. Alright, lights are on. There, look at that, we got oxygen. That's pretty cool. Let's make sure that everything's sealed up. Because it just ends really poorly if you have a hole in the ship. I think we have a nicely sealed ship. Everywhere reads as a compartment. If you look up here in the top corner, exterior. That's not good. I just saw that. Where was that? It might have actually been the outside. Well, moment of truth. Magic. Awesome. Well, now normally at this point what I do is I will go and grab all the stuff out of the tug, pull it all into here, including crates, and then get ready for the next little leg of the journey. I think I'm going to call it for this one, since that's another like tedious 20 minutes. Everything seems to be functioning. Well, hopefully I'll see you in the next one, and I hope you enjoyed this. This has been Ostranauts. Thanks a lot.